Yay. Hello. Hello, hello. All right. I am sharing this live. Hi. I'm excited to speak to Halana today. Let me just share this. All right. I didn't get to do one last week because I was traveling. I was in America for 10 whole days. Hey. All right. Let me get you on. All right. So I sent you an invite. Sometimes people have issues accepting, they have to come off and come back on. Technology works in fantastic ways. Those of you that are here, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from and where you are on your expat journey. Whether you are full on, you've moved abroad, where do you live? How do you like it? If you are starting your journey or thinking about it, like where are you interested or looking at moving to? I started this series because I really felt that people, you know what you know, you don't know what you don't know. And I feel people needed to see other people's lives and know that it's possible. Like that's part of the reason why I started Your Expat Life. I moved abroad in 2015 and I all all the places except for London were never on my travel list. Never on my travel list, never anywhere that I felt I wanted to live. Hang on. Okay, let me try this. Send you invite one more time. You may have to come off and come back on, but I'll try this again. See if that works. All the places I've lived. So I've lived in Copenhagen, Denmark. Before living there, never thought I would ever visit or travel Denmark. I now live in Doha, Qatar. Growing up in America, you would never think of going to live in the Middle East. And everywhere that I've lived, I've absolutely loved. And I'm grateful and glad for the opportunity. And it's definitely something I feel you don't know what you don't know. And now that we're here, I'm like, I don't want to leave. Oh yay, Atlanta, Georgia. Thinking about question Portugal or Panama. Well, I've done a couple interviews with people in Portugal. So definitely go watch those because they've been gave me some insight into the city and different cities. We like talk to people all over Portugal. And want to move to countries that allow me to set roots. Buy land, put into the economy, and just be happy. Yes. Yes. Helena, let me know if you see it. If not, you might want to come off and come back in. I have. Mm. Why are you nervous, Kayla? What makes you nervous about it? Is it nerve? It is a big move, so I get why you're nervous. But what makes you nervous about the journey? It is a big decision. I think I'm one who has always liked change. So for me, I'm up for it. This move was hard for me though. I think I was um hesitant because the kids, my business, just I felt so settled in life in England and I was like, this is it. We're not going anywhere else anytime again. So I get it. Okay. Let me send it to you one more time. Let's see if this works. It will not get back in. Okay, I just sent you it. It says waiting for you. I sent it again. There's a few people we spoke to um, that live in countries that they've never visited, like Ireland. Um, she moved from Spain to Ireland and had never visited, and she bought property. And that for me, that was shocking because I lived in England for 3 years and we had a hard time trying to figure out. Well, for me, I was the reason. My husband was originally from England. We moved back to the area he grew up in, but I had the hardest time like being, where do we want to live? And then 3 years later, we moved anyway. Oh, we're not giving. Let me see. Try this one more time. I'm in the DMV. I've always wanted to travel since I was a child. Is it really difficult living abroad? It's definitely not easy. You have to be open and up for a challenge and the changes because there will be different challenges, but you have to be, I say, open for change, right? Because you can't expect to come from one place and bring all that with you because it's totally different. Cultures are different, people are different. I mean, just some examples of where I am now from being in England. Um, my kids, they go to school. I mean, last year we were leaving the house at 6:20 because they had to be at the school in the doors before 6:45. Super early. But then they finished school by like 1:30, and that's because of the heat here. So like things change, things are just different. Um, and you just don't expect that. And also here, for example, like it just gets so hot in the summer. Me and the girls don't stay. We leave. And my husband, because he's working, he comes, we travel a little bit and then he comes back for work. Let me just see. I'm gonna try. I've canceled the invite, Halana. Come out and when you come back, I'll send it to you again. Let's try that. Try that. So I did an interview with Expat on a Budget, and that's a good one to talk about financially. She lives in Portugal. And what I'll say is, and Halana could probably talk to this as well, because she's lived in many different countries too. So that'll be something we'll talk about with her. But you can live within your budget and finances. So, like, even here in the Middle East, there's high end, there's low end. It depends on what you want, right? But coming from America, you don't have to worry about healthcare, right? Because a lot of that is provided for you. You don't have to, some of the food is just healthier, better, cheaper, easier. I get so many different fruits here than that I wouldn't get anywhere else. My family's originally from the Caribbean, so I love mangoes, sugar apples, all the things, and I get them here, and it's not as expensive as I thought it would be. I know Halana lives in Mexico, so we'll definitely talk to her about this. But in Mexico, I think things are affordable and cheaper there as well. So one thing I say to people is really look at your lifestyle and how you're living and your expenses because you really want to lay out what your needs and versus wants are because you can live on your salary outside of America very comfortably. But definitely go check out the Expat on a Budget um, interview I did maybe 2, 3 weeks, not to be 3 weeks ago, because she really broke down how much for her, she's single, living in Portugal, what that looked like for her, numbers wise. And then if it's a case of looking for a job, I've had people that have had success looking for international jobs on LinkedIn. Um, Another thing is education. So like educational jobs over here are really big because there's a lot of American schools that are hiring, American teachers or British schools hiring British teachers, um, teaching English as a second language. Like a lot of people do that here. They do tutoring and you make money that way. Um, yeah, I think there's always definitely a way to make it work. The last part about so expat I interviewed Expat on a Budget. That's her Substack name. And we talked about her. She broke down what it was like for her to live in Portugal. Keeps opening. Actually, let me invite you again. See if you see it now. not to be on the line. What's happening? Why isn't it working today? I just sent you the invite again. Let's see what happens there. So expat on a budget broke down. She's single, moved to Portugal. Um, Not in Lisbon, because Lisbon is, and this is the other thing, you want to look at whether cost wise, living in the city is going to cost you more versus living outside, like in America, what we call the suburbs, but like in the country type areas. Um, so she broke down what her apartment cost was, how much she paid for food, and she's living by herself. So that would be a good one for you to kind of get an idea cost wise what that would be. Halana, are you on your phone? That's the other thing. This Substack Live to join is only on phone. So that's the other key thing. Phone and tablet. Why is it not working? Hmm. Yeah, quality of life. I mean, that's for me the biggest thing as well. I have two girls, 7 and 9, and being in a place where they can still get good education, still experience good quality of life. Um, I mean, quality of life here is the best I've had anywhere I've lived. Try this again. I just sent it to you again. It's the best I've had. I mean, no, we're doing straight on Substack Live. This is how I've done them. I live in Doha, so I live in the Middle East. I live in Qatar. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's not working. We're having great conversation, but I really wanted to dive into Halana's life. Let's see. So yeah, quality of life. The quality of life I had in Copenhagen was nice as well, except Copenhagen is expensive, and we lived in the city, but all over Copenhagen was expensive, and then taxes were a lot there. But when the my husband came in on a job that gave him like an expat tax scheme for the first 5 years, I want to say, we ended up living there for 3.5 years, and we went back to England. But coming to the Middle East is tax free, so everything you make, you get to keep. Corporation tax is about 10%. So my business is here, so I pay 10% corporation tax on that. But those are things you want to think about as well in terms of like your quality of life, how much more funds you would have to then enjoy life. Because for me, one of the big things being over here is like we're on the other side of the world. There's so many things we can go see and travel to on this side of the world that over like we'll eventually go back to England. But over in England, it'll take us so much longer to say get to Bali or Japan or Mauritius, things like that. So things like that you want to think about. Once you're in Europe, it's so much easier to get around. Oh, hold on, I don't know what else to do. Um, because on my end it just says waiting for you to join. Did you try quitting the Substack app completely and coming back in? Let me see, you might have dropped off. Ready? What other questions do you all have? So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Snai Williams, and I started your expat life to really just have people see an inside peek into what it is to live in other countries. So I'm basically interviewing a bunch of people that live abroad in various different countries. I've interviewed people that have lived in Ireland. I've interviewed a few people that live in Portugal, various different cities in Portugal, Mexico. I've interviewed someone that has lived in Japan, in China, and another part of in the UAE, another part of the Middle East for where I am. And all of those interviews are on my Substack, on Substack Live. It has a schedule and you can see all the recordings there. But I find it so interesting just to see how other people are living abroad, because it helps you see what's possible. I saw an invite with first time, but let me, here you go. Because I canceled it. Maybe this would work. Close it and came back in. Okay, do you see the invite now? I just resent it. The Doha airport is amazing. It's like I don't mind getting stuck there. I haven't really been stuck there, but it's a place that you don't mind getting stuck. They have the garden, it's just huge, and you can take the train from terminal to terminal. Why is this not working for me? What do I do? Hmm. Yeah, yeah, just a second. Yeah. Every time I send it, it just says waiting for you. And this is how I've done it in the past. There's no other. Let's see, click on your name. Invite to join. Anything yet? I just tried invite. And then oh, this is not good. Huh. This is the first time this has happened. Um, Let me see. Thank you all for your patience. See if that worked. I just sent it both ways again. Let me try to send you this in chat. I just sent you a link in Substack chat. See if that does anything. Yes. So I was saying the Doha airport. It's huge. Like, and they just opened a whole new terminal for Qatar Airways that's most American flights fly out of, which is closer to the garden. Yay! I Hey, I don't know what happened there. Oh no, I can't hear you. No. I hear something. I don't know if you have headphones in or something, but yes, success. Amazing. Let me just, there was a question here, visa. So we have we're residents. So we have a residence visa and it's for I want to say 3 years. And then we renew it. So we're here. My husband works here. He works for the World Fund here. So the money that Qatar makes the profits that they make on oil, the company he works for reinvests it. So we hear through that.
Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yay! Hello. How are
Perfect.
you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for sticking it out and like making it happen. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to you too. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, yes. I've been following your journey. Like we've been in each other's worlds and out and in and things and whatever. So I've seen you like live in all these different amazing places. I'm so excited to
Mhm.
like dive on in and talk about it. But tell us, I guess, what made you want to leave and start your expat journey?
Okay, well, my name's Halana Black. I've been abroad for 7 years since 2018. Um, and I I've always wanted to sort of live a life abroad and travel. Um, but in 2018, I think I had gotten to a point where I was free enough to be able to get up and just go do it. I was married before, got divorced, got into another relationship that didn't work out. Uh, and by the time I had turned 40, I had just sort of felt like I felt really unwell.
Mm.
Um, and I needed to pull my health together. My mom had passed away when she was 49 of breast
Mm.
cancer.
No.
And I had always sort of felt like, you know, if you wanted to do things, you needed to do it now because I felt so sick that I didn't really know what was wrong with me. And I felt like I felt a sense of urgency to do the things that I had always wanted to do instead of sitting around and waiting, for other people to be able to gather themselves to go with me. So I decided 2018 was the right time
Mm.
for me to be able to do it. This wasn't the first time that I had lived abroad. I had lived abroad when I was in my early 20s. I did the Peace Corps. So I did 2 years in Togo in West Africa. And in doing that life, I sort of always knew that living abroad was better because when I returned to the States after the Peace Corps, after living 2 years in sunshine and being able to
Yeah.
travel around and do things as I wanted to do, and then to come back to the States and it was cold and they wanted me to work at a desk and look at the wall and all the walls were gray and I couldn't deal.
It was not the answer for you. That was not it.
Yeah, I couldn't. That was not the life for me. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that I would be doing what I am doing now. I was always sort of looking for something else to do. So I had tried, doing a career in international development, which was close to what I was doing in the Peace Corps, and I didn't love it. Um, although my work was interesting and the people that I met were interesting, I just knew that that was not my long term work. So what I'm doing now is I'm a freelancer, and so I'm able to create my own work schedule, get my own clients, and sort of travel and work the way that I want to as a writer.
That's amazing. I mean, yes. I love it. So, because I want to dive into that as well. Like someone was asking around finances and how does that work? And I
Hmm.
think being your own in your own business, your own boss, it does have its benefits.
Hmm.
And then it's also like, how does that actually work when you're like traveling abroad and you live
Yeah.
live in multiple different places? So you've lived, I mean, I have a list of places here: Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, UAE, Rwanda, Uganda, Turkey, and you're in Mexico now.
Yeah.
Of all those places, like what made you choose? Like, how did you choose where to live?
um I kind of felt I went with where it is that I felt like was the right place for me to go. So I wound up going to the UAE first, just for several weeks to be able to see and look. But I actually, the first time I went there, I wound up there in like the dead of summer. So it was like
No, no, no.
120 degrees outside.
Yes.
I was like, oh.
This is,
That's
yeah,
why
that
the
wasn't it
ticket here was
either.
so cheap. Oh, this is why the tickets were so cheap here. I get it. I get it. Okay, so no, so then I just went on to Thailand.
It's like, okay, this is nice, and it's not for me. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so and then I went to Thailand, and I went to Chiang Mai specifically in Thailand, which is in central Thailand. And what I didn't know about Thailand was that I didn't know that it was such a big place for people who were looking for health and healing to be able to
Mm,
go and get access to all sorts of, treatments and healers. And it's not, exorbitantly expensive as you would get in the United States. And so I kind of went looking and finding different sorts of treatments that I could get myself involved in. I worked with herbalists, I worked with shaman, I got all sorts of massage treatments and traditional herbal
yeah.
sauna treatments, um, and went through this whole process where, I eventually wound up losing about 100 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Um, yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, and so from when it was time for me to leave Thailand, I spent about 9 or 10 months there. I went on to Vietnam and then Cambodia, and I just sort of picked places that sort of felt good to what I was doing at the time. So when I
Okay.
left Thailand, um, I needed to be in a place where I could get access to water. So I went to central Vietnam to Da Nang, which is a beautiful little beach town, which is still one of my favorite places to be in. Um, and then whatever felt nice to me is
Yeah.
is where I wound up going. And I went to Cambodia. I felt like being someplace ancient, and so I went to Angkor Wat. Spent a couple of months exploring Angkor Wat with just
Yeah.
like literally just sitting.
Wow. Yeah.
Sitting in Angkor Wat, just looking at people pass by like really not really doing much of anything, but it was just a healing experience for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to be in the place and realizing, because when I felt sicker I had always wanted to go to, not necessarily Angkor Wat, but I'd always wanted to go to these places, but I felt so sick I didn't really feel like this was accessible for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, it just to be there and to be able to have enough strength and energy to climb mountains and, to be able to walk long distances.
Yeah.
Um, that was the experience that I was supposed to have until I
Amazing.
went looking for a place where that felt like home, which is why I'm in Mexico now.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. So, in terms of like the logistics, did you have to get visas to go to all these places? Did you just travel on your US passport? Like how did that work?
Yeah, so I had to figure out the visa processes for myself. Now, when I was that was one of the things that made this this like era, I guess, of travel for me to travel to different places, different from what I did when I was doing international development. Because
Mm,
when you work for companies, they do all the
they do
passports
it for you.
and the
Yeah.
visas and the housing and all that stuff. So when you're just a single person traveling, you got to do all that stuff on your own. So you got to usually I was well connected enough to be able to just go online and ask somebody what the proper process is for getting visas and things like that. There's always a lot of really great Facebook groups, to be able to ask questions. But a lot of the stuff is also just you can just go online
Yeah.
and find it. And so literally every country was very different from the other, figuring out what the visa process was. And it's especially in Southeast Asia, it's usually not
Mhm.
very expensive, maybe 25 to $50. Um, and it's just a matter of sometimes you can do it online or you might have to go to an office somewhere, and it was
Yeah.
really always very accessible. They didn't ask
Yeah.
for a lot.
And then when you went to these places, like what was housing like? Did you do Airbnb? Did you do
Hmm.
hotel? Did you know people? Like how did that work?
In Southeast Asia, I did Airbnb, and that's really what I loved about Southeast Asia, particularly Vietnam and Thailand. It was super easy to just go online and be able to find accommodation that wasn't terribly expensive. Like my first
Mm.
apartment in Thailand was literally like $200 a month. It was excellent.
Like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, and then you go to other places, and usually what I found was that what was advertised on the Airbnb site was what it was.
Mm,
Now, when I transitioned during the pandemic, I moved from Vietnam to Rwanda. And so African countries, you're not going to expect that same level of ease and comfort. You just won't. Beautiful country, beautiful places, beautiful people, beautiful experiences. But when it comes to infrastructure and
yeah.
expecting things to be a certain way, you're just going to have a little bit more patience. So, you go on Airbnb for in Rwanda and some of the other African countries that I've been to, and the place is not what you expect. They don't have the amenities that they say that. I'm like, why would you put a washer and dryer? And it's like we have one, but it's in the closet. So you don't have it. We say, but it's
You weren't
here.
specific
And
enough.
I'm like, okay, well, he's like, well, but we have a guy in the back. He can wash your clothes for you. I'm like, all right.
That's funny.
And so it took a little, literally, it took a good 6 months for me to be able to find the housing that felt the most comfortable for me while I was in Rwanda.
And
And
how long were you in Rwanda for?
a month shy of 3 years.
Oh, wow.
um, because of the pandemic. I also really love Rwanda.
Oh,
I should
okay.
say that I do love Rwanda. And during the pandemic time, I didn't like people were traveling. I just didn't like the process of having to go get tested every time and
Yeah.
all sorts of other stuff. I didn't really want to participate, so I just sat still in Rwanda for 3 years. And I still love Rwanda. It's a beautiful country to be in.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, I was in Copenhagen for the pandemic, and it was
Hmm.
probably, I would say, one of the best places to be because we had low numbers.
Hmm.
We only shut down for 3 weeks out of the whole entire time. Like my kids were out of school for 3 weeks, and I was like, this isn't bad compared to everything else that was happening. And I attribute that to the prime minister was a female.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. And the Danes just listened. Like they would paint
Hmm.
a line down the road and you had an arrow, you had to walk this way or walk this way. And the Danes, like everyone listened. They had boxes in the park and it could
Wow.
only be like 10 people in a square. And if there were more than 10, there were police there that would give you a ticket. But everyone was just listening. So I was like, that was the best place for us to be during COVID. Because the
Hmm.
UK was the UK was like terrible. They had
I could imagine. Yeah.
two lockdowns. Yeah, absolutely terrible.
Hmm.
So I'm curious to know throughout all the moves, how how was your business impacted?
Um. Okay. So when I started, I didn't have a lot of clients. I was probably making a good $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And that was just with a few clients. And it was with rent that's $200 a month.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
was
so
plenty.
someone I forget who it was that was asking, but asking
Hmm.
about like finances and just being able to afford to live abroad. It's like I think once you get clear on exactly what you need, you can do it on much less than
Hmm.
you do it now in America.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, healthcare, there's so many things that are already taken care of. But
Hmm.
yes, how tell us more about that like um in terms of like you didn't have a lot of clients, but you were still doing well, being able to afford to live, travel, enjoy
Hmm.
the
And save
life
money.
where you were and
And save
save.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was hyper focused on being well. The client work that I was doing was, you know, sort of bare minimum work as far as I was doing content writing for tech companies. So it was like writing blog posts and ebooks and things like that. So it wasn't really taxing. which was good for me because I was able to put a lot of that energy into my healing work. I'd spend a couple of hours, literally a couple hours a day, writing. And then, depending on where I was in my healing, especially in Thailand, and what I was doing in my healing, I really didn't have a lot of energy left. And so I, spent time just sitting in the sun because that
Yeah.
was really all I had the energy and the space for. And then there was a 6 months of me being in like a detox process, a detox program that I was working with a couple of herbalists and shamans. And when I got to the end of that experience, um, I lost all my clients, all but one of my clients, which was sort of representative of starting over, I think,
Yeah.
for me.
Clean
And
slate. Hmm.
yeah, and so I sort of took that as the universe telling me that you've done well in your healing portion, and now it's time for you to be able to move forward with a new vision for what it is that you want in your business,
Mm.
while you
And
still get to go and travel. Go ahead.
were those clients in America, or like where were those clients located?
They were in America, and I think I had one in Canada.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, they were for the most part in the United States. And so I had to figure out what type of clients that I wanted to be able to work with. And I found that the more healing work that I did, the more um, the more my self esteem grew. So I was able to ask for more money. I was able to get better clients just because I felt better about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like I'm going through this whole thing right now with my clients talk because I have clients that are say, "Oh, I want to scale. I want to do more. I want to do more. I want to do more." And I'm like, "You don't really need to do more. You just need to do what you're doing now better."
Yeah.
It's just like, why do we need more, more, more? And I feel like my attitude about doing less better changed once I moved abroad. Because it's like, I feel like part of the mentality that we get sucked into is it has to be bigger. Bigger is always better. Like
Hmm.
more, more, more. And since I've moved, it's like I don't shop as much
Hmm.
because I don't need anything. Um, but I also feel like with the life we have, we pick up and we move practically like every 3 years, it seems like. I don't want to have to be going through all this stuff
Hmm.
to
Absolutely.
then
I get it.
to then yeah, it's just like, and so yeah, trying to teach my kids that like you don't need all these things,
Hmm.
but they're kids. They're kids. Anyway.
Yeah. You don't need a lot of stuff. And
Mm.
with people are always asking me, well, how do you find, like, how do you get like hair care product? With Black women, that's always a popular question. How do you get your hair
Yeah.
care product? I'm like, I use what's available, and then I like make stuff with what's available
Yeah.
in my kitchen, and you figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure out and make do with what you have.
Hmm.
And like I started using flaxseed as
Hmm.
a deep conditioner and it works beautifully. Like I would have
Hmm.
never I'd easily just go to the store and buy a deep conditioner, but this flaxseed is just I literally go buy raw flaxseed, I boil it, and it makes a beautiful conditioner and it makes my
Hmm.
hair curly and shiny.
Yeah,
Who would have
it's
thought?
beautiful.
Yeah, who would have thought? But yeah, of all the places you've lived, like what's been the biggest culture shock? So for example, here, I noticed the kids stay up like extremely late, even on a school night. Like they'll be out 11, 12 o'clock at night. Kids will be out. And then they're not either they show up to school late the next day or things like that. Like in America, that's not a thing. Like kids have to be to school on time. That for me was a big shock, especially in with the age of my kids right now. What has been some of the biggest culture shocks you've seen in the places you've lived?
I guess there could be several, but one of the biggest ones I think I realized when I got to Rwanda is how much being in places where I feel safe um,
Mm,
affects me as a human being, as a woman in the
mm,
world. I'm able to be a lot softer. because I'm not always bracing for, somebody to come behind me and, knock me over
Yeah.
the head, or,
Yeah.
having to be afraid, if people, not necessarily be afraid, but brace for whatever could happen if a strange person, comes running up to you and they want to speak. It's like, well, what do you want?
Yeah. What's your
You're
hidden agenda? Because there's always one.
and you sort of you relax into just
Yeah.
being friendly, with people, because people are interested, in learning who you are, um, and
Hmm.
where you come from. And it could just generally just be, random conversation that lasts for 5 minutes and then they move on. You move
Yeah.
on and we never see each other again.
Exactly. And that's interesting too, because I find the first question I'm not asked, which I feel like in America I'm always asked, is what do you do?
Hmm.
I don't get that. I get, oh, hey, like, how are you? What are you up to? What do you do for fun? Like, it's literally about me. It's not about like, not I don't think it's who I am, but it's not like about what I do, right? It's like, who
Hmm.
am I as a person? And I find that makes for so many different conversations, and I've made so many friends easier in my travels than I have anywhere else.
Hmm. Yeah, I would agree. People in the States they want access to you and whatever your network is. Um, Even though I would say that people do ask, they will sometimes will ask. They may not be as direct about it as
Yeah,
they
it
will
comes up,
in
but it's
America.
not the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be the only thing that they will, talk to you about. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Um, so what made you land? So you wanted a place that feels like home, but
Hmm.
what made Mexico feel like home?
I would say the culture here is
Mm,
something that I can connect to. Now, I've lived in West Africa and East Africa, and of course, I've lived in Southeast Asia, as well. And not that any of those places didn't feel like home. It just didn't feel comfortable, I guess, for to be there long term and to be able to
yeah.
connect with people. When you're in Asia, there's always a fascination with you as a black person. And so people want to come over and they want to put their
Hmm.
arm around and they just start taking selfies with you. There's no hello.
Is
How
that
you
bad?
doing?
Like,
They just
oh,
start taking pictures and I'm like, okay, like, and so it's hard to be able to find, I guess, community, um, in those
mm,
places. And not that I wouldn't go back. Like I would really love to once I get settled here in Mexico, that a way that I really want to. I would love to be able to go back to Thailand and Vietnam and be there for 2 or 3 months out of the year.
yeah,
Um, but Mexico and its accessibility to other, um, cultures that are black, that are African, um, as well throughout in Mexico, but also in Central and South America.
mm,
I'm excited about being having the opportunity to explore that. And also, I came here to Mexico in particular because I wanted to take art classes. One of the things that I did, during the pandemic when I was in Vietnam and we had our first, lockdown for 6 weeks was I did, I just started to teach myself how to paint. Not that I'm good
wow.
at it or anything.
Hey,
Not
but
that
you're
I'm good
doing
at
it.
it. But and I loved it enough to as I moved into I went to Turkey, and of course I bought like good art supplies in Turkey and Rwanda, and also here in Mexico. And, I loved it enough to be able to invest real money because art is it can be
Yeah,
an expensive an expensive hobby.
yeah.
And I spend a lot of hours just sitting on YouTube doing free tutorials and things like that.
But that has to be
Um,
healing as well. Like that's part of
mhm,
the continuation of your healing journey.
yeah, because when I first started painting, I would cry because I felt so frustrated at the fact that I didn't feel like I was good enough. Like I felt really frustrated. Like what I was
Yeah.
trying to create in my head was not coming out on the paper.
It doesn't look exactly the same. Yeah, I can relate to that.
And so I learned how to be able to have compassion for myself and to be able to
Yeah.
slow down and to be a beginner. I don't have to start out out in first with everything that I do. And so here in Mexico, I get to be able to um, learn art from local people. So this is really my way of being able um, to integrate myself into a community, to speak to Mexican people in a way that makes sense to me. Because I'm very introverted. I don't go to like a restaurant and a bar like a lot of people, and they just go out and have random conversations with people. I need to have a designated purpose as to why we are conversing with one another
Yeah.
to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And so it just feels better for me to be able to do that, to be able to create community and connections with people through art. And Mexico has a beautiful art tradition. They've got
Yeah.
museums, and there's artists on the street that you can talk
Hmm.
to, and all sorts of things. And so I'm able to practice a little bit of Spanish. I don't speak it well at all.
That was gonna be one of my questions. It's like, are you gonna learn the language?
Yeah, so I'm able to learn language in context. I'm still not.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near fluency, and I probably sound like a 3-year-old while trying to speak to people.
But you'll
But
be able to get by
yeah,
eventually.
yeah, with
Yeah.
time. And so
Yeah.
my goal is I'm a temporary resident right now, so I've had
Okay.
temporary residency for about a year and a half. And I have about 3 years left on that. So by the time the temporary visa ends and I go apply for my permanent residency, I want to be able to go through the process of
Hmm.
applying for the permanent residency on my own, to
Yeah.
be able to go in and be able to decipher the paperwork and to be able to stand up and say this is what I'm looking for. And if they
You
ask
have
me any other
time.
questions, yeah.
You got
So
time, but it's gonna go by fast. It's gonna go by fast. So, um, what part of Mexico are you in?
right now I'm in Playa del Carmen.
Oh, San Carmen. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. And so I want to be able to move to, I was supposed to move to San Miguel de Allende, which is in central Mexico. And it's
Okay.
a town that's known for art and artists. It has a fairly large expat community, but
Yeah.
there's also a ton of Mexicans there as well who are artists, and that's the town that I want to be in. I should be there, but this year has been funny as far as like contracts and things were for me. So I didn't have the resources to be able to move in the way that I wanted to. But by next year, I definitely will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kayla says she loves it. San Miguel de Allende. I have a
Hmm.
friend that she got her visa to move there, I think less than a year ago as well. And she should be
Hmm.
moving there by the end of this year. So if you want to connect, I don't know if you know anybody, you probably know people there already because there's a lot of
Yeah,
people
but you
in
can
the
like
community
if
there.
you want to send me more
Yeah.
people, it's always great.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. So, so when you were moving through all the different countries, how many suitcases did you carry? Because if you were collecting paint supplies as you were going, like, how did you do that?
I have a large suitcase that has to be checked. I have a large backpack, and depending on what I'm doing, I can either check it or use it as a carry-on. And then I might have like another carry-on thing, just a backpack with
Really?
all my computer stuff. It's
Yeah.
still too much. It's too much. I,
I mean, that's really good.
hmm.
That's really good. I mean, well, for me, it's a lot different because I got two little ones that I'm
Yeah.
lugging around
Hmm.
as well, and it's just like we each have a suitcase.
Hmm. Yeah.
But when we moved over here, we got rid of a lot of the stuff in the house, and then our intention is to come back. So we put like stuff we knew we wanted to keep in storage. But then we came over. We each had like two cases. Dwayne
Hmm.
came. He came with three cases and a big golf bag. But every time we go back to England, we come bringing stuff back, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with all these things now.
Yeah. And
But
that's
yeah,
one of
that's
the
always
things
the
that I'm
question.
doing. Is why I want to move to San Miguel is because I'll be able to get myself a home where I can have, like, I have a whole vision of what I want as my setup.
So it'll
And
be
I
home
really
base.
love, yeah. And so I really
That's
love
nice.
the aesthetic, the home aesthetic that Mexicans tend to have. And so,
Yeah.
like, I'll have like a space on the roof to be able to paint while overlooking, the sunset. And in my kitchen, because I love to cook. That's one of my big things. I love to be able to cook and
Mhm.
explore local ingredients,
Yeah.
and be able to talk to farmers and things like that. And so one of the things that I write, beyond the stuff that I do for tech corporations, is food articles. And so I'll have space to be able to have all of my cookbooks.
Yeah.
Because prior to leaving the States, I had a good maybe close to 100 cookbooks,
Oh
um,
wow.
that I wound up giving away or selling some of them. And I would like to have them back.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna set up home base in Mexico, and then you'll be able to go around. I think that sounds amazing.
Hmm.
Really good. So how has your eating changed as you've moved? Like you lost 100 pounds in Thailand. How has eating changed or throughout the
Hmm.
journey? Because I remember reading it wasn't only Thailand. Like I remember reading about Rwanda changing a lot of how
Hmm.
you dealt with food.
Yeah, so I'm finding that every country that I go to, I have to rework how it is that I'm eating. So I lost
Mm.
about 70 pounds, 60, 70 pounds while I was in Thailand. And then the remainder I sort of lost by accident as I moved around. Like it wasn't like even
Yeah.
the original 60 pounds, it wasn't like I was on a weight loss diet.
Yeah.
It was just
It was like a
all the work that,
release.
yeah, it just sort of dropped
Yeah.
off on its own. Um,
Wow.
and so with every country that I go to, I learn that I have to eat a little bit differently depending on what's available. So of course, the food tends to be fresher than what it is that you get in the United States. That's for sure. Um, but then I also make room for myself to be able to eat local things. And so I'll eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. That's always the main part of what it is that I'm eating. But in Vietnam, yeah, I would allow myself to eat pho, and pho is usually, this is the beef noodle soup.
Yeah.
And so if I get to a place where they're serving really great pho, I'm not going to not eat it because it has beef in it. That doesn't make sense to me because I'm a foodie first.
Yeah. Yeah. You
I
gotta have
put
the
my
balance.
foodie, yeah, I put my
Yeah.
foodie first. The only place where I really could not um, eat meat was in Rwanda, and that was usually because at least during the pandemic while I was there, it was really hard to find a place that where their refrigeration was appropriate, where
Yeah.
it worked well. So,
Mhm.
but it was also really easy for me to be a vegetarian there. That was the freshest food I ever got.
Oh
So it was
wow.
really easy to order food, to order groceries online. And so you would get, the cabbage with, the roots still attached to it and like the dirt on
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
To have, the strawberries during strawberry season, and the strawberry smell was so sweet. It
Mm-hmm.
would just fill up the whole kitchen. So everything was always really super fresh. So it was really easy for me there to be able to eat a largely vegetarian diet. I did find a, uh, a restaurant from Ivory Coast that sold fish and rice. The way that I remember eating it when I lived in West Africa, and so like once every 3 months, I would eat there.
Wow.
Now, here in Mexico, in Playa del Carmen, because this area is a largely tourist area, I find that it's more difficult to be able to find high quality fruits and vegetables the way that I want, which is another reason why I want to move to central
Mm.
Mexico. But like I really, I need to sit in the farmer's face and figure out. Oh no,
Yeah.
like. we just picked this on Monday morning, and it's Monday evening, and here I am
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
be like, I need
Fresh.
to know that.
Yeah, I want it fresh. Pick it up and give it to me out the ground.
Yeah, because it matters in the taste.
Yeah,
It
it does.
to me, I know and to have super fresh quality ingredients in my kitchen, like if it's not that, I'm unhappy.
Mhm. No, like I love it. Yeah. That's
Hmm.
amazing. How, I guess one of the other big questions I get from people is around community, right?
Hmm.
When people think about making the journey, I think someone said it here too, they're scared. It's like it's not it's like more anxious about just everything that comes along with making the decision to move abroad. But one of the things that I hear a lot about people hesitant to move is them feeling lonely and not being able to find community or make friends or things like that. How have you managed to do that throughout your travels?
Well, finding community has not been challenging. I'm also a person who doesn't necessarily need to be with people all the time. I'm
It's like
extra
me.
introverted, and I'm fine sitting in a corner and watching other people do whatever it is that you do.
I love to people watch.
Like, I had a great day. Like, I sat in my favorite restaurant. I brought a journal. I ordered some good food, and then I went home at the end of the day. That's and that was a great day. Other people need a little bit more than that, but like in all the countries that I've been to, it has been fairly easy to be able to find communities, particularly of other Black expats. So there, every country, every not every city, but every country, usually some of the larger cities have its own um, Black expat group connected to
Yeah.
it, where you can go and find people who are organizing events,
Hmm.
people who are celebrating one another's birthdays. Um, if you want to do like a local outing somewhere, you can usually find someone to go with you if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so, it's not as hard as I think people make it. You can find ways to be able to find community, no matter what that looks like for you. I've known people who find, they want to be able to find community in church. And so they join the local church, and it's their way of being able to connect with local people. Even though you might not find some of your own people
Yeah.
there, but they have a good time going to the local
Yeah.
church, and that's how they find community there.
Yeah. You
It's
make some
good to have.
connections. Hmm.
Yeah, it's good to have local community friends, as
Yeah.
well as people who know where it is that you come from as well. You need to have both.
Agreed. Yeah. Agree. It's definitely locals. Like we've got some local Qatari friends. Amazing. Tell you all
Hmm.
the insides and all the things that you need to know. And then we've got friends that are expats like us from all over. Like some mornings I'll come back and I'll message Dwayne like I just had coffee with someone from Australia, Japan.
Hmm.
Like it's like a world table.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. Like I love it. It's so amazing to me just to be around other people from different places, but we're all on
Hmm.
the same journey. All on the same journey.
Absolutely.
So, Alana, this has been amazing. I would love for you to share like how can people stay in contact with you, learn about your work, or continue to follow your journey? Like where should we have people reach
Hmm.
out to you?
Sure. You can. I have a Substack. It's called Wealthy, Wise, and Whole. You can just look up my first and last name, Halana Black, to be able to connect to that. And on there, I just share my journey as a writer. I share some of my stories um, from where it is that I started from all the way up until now, and how the journey of travel has really changed who I am, and who I'm becoming. Work wise, I also support people who want to be able to write memoirs and nonfiction books. And so I coach people on writing books. It's usually for their business. And I've also worked with some people who are retired and want to be able to tell their story in a book format, for their families, or
Yeah.
some of them are motivational speakers and things like that. So yeah, that's what I do. If you want to be able to connect with me on that, you can go to halanablack.kit.com.
Amazing. And I'll add all the links with the replay so you guys can check that
Mm.
out. But thank you so much for sharing your journey and your time. I mean, I'm just fascinated by all the places you've lived. And when I next come to Mexico, I'll definitely reach out because I love Mexico. Like I love
Yeah.
Tulum. Tulum, I was
Hmm.
there a couple years ago and it was amazing. I went
Yeah,
on a
it's a beautiful
solo
place.
trip.
Hmm.
Hmm. Loved it. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for joining. We've got weekly expat life stories like this scheduled out through, I think, right before Thanksgiving and then in December. So tune in, go to your expatlife.com and view the schedule. Talk to you all later.